Hello and good evening, and a late one it is. It is Thursday, September 16th, 2021, and the Double Eviction number 2 is over in Big Brother 23 as we wrap up the 10th week of this season. I'm Dave Mader, joined with Jaemeel Robinson and hopefully Jeff Mader soon here on Super Mader Brothers Podcasting. We're going to break this all down to you tonight as we saw 2 house guests evicted. We're down to the final 4. We saw an HOH, a veto, all these things. And we're going to also update our draft board as we saw 2 people evicted tonight. Jaemeel, we had a little bit of a little exchange before the show, but how are you doing at this hour? How are you feeling?
I'm not doing well at all. I'm not.
I'm sorry to hear that. What are you feeling down about?
Everything except for 1 minute and 43 seconds, it seems.
You felt good for about 1 minute and 43. Did that have to do with this person?
My boobs look great.
Shit, I gotta fix this tonight. My camera keeps falling off. I gotta stop banging the desk.
As my name says, I drafted Star-Lord, who decided to punch Thanos in the face.
Yeah, let me get the banner down. You drafted Azza.
I drafted Star-Lord.
Yeah, and Mary Bass wants to say boo to tonight as we see Tiffany go in the first eviction, and then Hannah right after. And I don't know. So what you were pulling for Tiffany, and you've been pulling mostly for the women too, as well, right? And so was that where you're
pulling for the people that I don't think are trash bag people? So,
trash bag people, which is so who weren't the trash bags?
Well,
was that just Tiffany and Hannah
and Chada?
Hannah Chada
and Azza, as sleepy as she was, hasn't really done like much to kind of warrant my displeasure of her moving forward in the game. If we lost her, I wouldn't have lost that much sleep. But my gosh.
It was it's been like a very paint by numbers season, Jaemeel. It's like and effectively Kyland and Xavier have been calling the shots in this game, for a long time now, and they continue to get their way, and that didn't change tonight. So I get it. I was I don't know. Like I'm definitely sad to see Tiffany go from this game. I think she has been one of the most entertaining, fun, rootable characters in personalities. I really enjoyed her exit interview tonight. I thought she was really candid, really honest, engaging, gave a lot more honesty than I think you see in a lot of these exit interviews. Was completely self-aware, and said they couldn't control me anymore, or they knew they couldn't count on it to control me. I think meaning Kyland and Xavier specifically. And so, she goes here, and we kind of knew that. We kind of knew she was, she kind of admits too that when she chose to win that HOH over Kyland, which was supposed to be Azza's originally anyway.
Do what you need to do.
She needed to do what she needed to do, but that carried around, and then she gets voted out here 3-0 against Hannah. Then we had a lot of jury segment tonight, and we should talk about the jury. And then we had our second hour, which was the double eviction itself, which even when she revealed it to Tiffany during her exit interview, Jaemeel, and we kind of talked about in the spoilers last night that they knew this was coming, that they had the backyard shut down for days.
Yeah, they had to play.
And so,
they had to play. And so, well, they knew something was up, whether it be a special HOH or anything. You can see by the clothing that they wore, and it was pretty paint by numbers in the sense that everyone knew that Tiffany was going, because Tiffany was the only one dressed in non athletic gear. Everyone else was dressed for a game to play. So
yeah, they were. So my favorite part was maybe Tiffany's face when Julie revealed that to her tonight and was like, do you know someone might be joining? And she's like, what do you mean? It wasn't that
Yep.
good of acting, I gotta say.
No.
Sorry. Jeff says he's trying to connect to the broadcast. He's having says the link's not working. Same link I gave to both of you. Okay, hopefully he's able to get connected in here. We can get his take. And then I kind of want to get right to the double eviction stuff, because I feel like that's the more like fresh stuff and the more interesting to really jump into, if you're okay with that, because we saw this. There was like this bocce ball competition in this double eviction where you had to roll your one, where each competitor had their own unique color, and they had to roll that ball up a ramp, almost like a skee ball ramp, and knock these silver balls off. And then the top two from that moved on to like a final showdown, which went from knocking things off to getting them to kind of stop on the grass, which I think was a fun one too. So somehow, not so much Xavier, he was not so much surprising to win this. I was actually thinking Hannah really had a good shot at this. She was looking really good. And if she had won this, which a lot of us thought she had a good chance of winning HOH in this double eviction, oh, how this night would have been different. I think you would be in a very different mood right now, Jaemeel, but alas, it was not meant to be. As you know, Xavier, he gets through first, and then Hannah manages to win, or sorry, not Hannah, Azza manages, Azza manages to get into that final two showdown, and then she beats Xavier. But did Xavier throw it at the very end? He had a chance to tie it up, and it seemed like he just threw his last ball away.
There was no way for him to tie it up, especially in the last ball. She was up 4, and he was at 2. So
when they got to their 10th ball, though, wasn't there a chance to tie it?
No,
she was already
knocked off.
The only chance
she could have knocked off her ball.
If she knocked off her own.
That was the only chance. So I was like, you better throw that thing off your thing, not even close to any of those balls. Don't even try it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Azza won. Jeff, how did you feel about Azza winning the HOH in this double eviction?
I was surprised. I think like probably everybody that's watched the season. I don't know. I thought X might have thrown it a little. I wasn't sure though. It felt like
he was going for it hard for a bit, and there was maybe a point where he was like, maybe it's not so bad if Azza wins this.
Yeah, I think he kind of knew where the chips were laid, and I think he kind of felt that it would be better if he could play next week.
Mary said she thought that was a good case scenario for her as a fan for Azza to win.
Hannah would play in the HOH next week.
Right. And I think that Azza, I don't know what I think she got played here tonight, quite frankly. I don't think she totally intended this. Every time we went into eavesdropping on the house guests at the end of the broadcast, it was just silence. Like it was deafening silence almost. Like
and Azza looked pissed.
Azza looked pissed. They were all like spread out in different rooms. Like Kylan was up in the have not room, and Azza just looked very unhappy. And so, we saw from the time she got HOH, she meets with Hannah first, and we saw that right in the bathroom. She gets to meet with her first. She's like, okay, I'm putting up Xavier and you, Hannah. And we're going, and she's like, but Xavier's my target. And she was like, why would you do that? You're supposed to put up like Kylan. Kylan's your target. She's like, no, I made a deal with Kylan. And you talked about this last night, Jaemeel, in the spoiler section, that Kylan made this deal sometime like a week ago or a few days ago or something, right? And Azza has now agreed to work with him. I don't know what it will be after this. I'm not sure how much it's going to matter, but why do you think that's been left out of the show? Why do you think we're getting more? I don't know, like whether Big D goes to Vegas or not, or those kinds of things.
Why would they show gameplay that revolves around Azza? Honestly, prior to tonight, why would they show anything that was like, was it important to Kylan? It seemed unlikely to be important to Kylan. It didn't look like there was any agency.
Right.
It looked like there was no agency that would result in Azza having to make a decision that was important. Her vote, if she didn't win, wouldn't have been important tonight because it would have been a tie if she voted against them, and they would have voted out who they want to.
True. So, how much power did Ozza really have here, though? Like,
she had all the power when she won the HOH. She had all the power to keep Hannah safe the whole time.
she could have, but she wasn't working with Hannah.
But who is she working with? Big D and who?
I think it was Big D having a lot. That thing with Vegas thing tonight was a long time ago, many days ago. Yeah, and she goes, yeah, she was mad, meaning Ozza was mad. Okay, so I guess, but why does Ozza care about Hannah?
She does.
They're both women. They're both women. That's why they should care.
In the sense that Hannah and Tiffany were both telling Ozza, dude, the guys are working together. You're gonna see it, right? And Ozza was gonna vote for Tiffany to stay if Tiffany got that second vote. But once they didn't get that second vote, there was no point of Ozza throwing a vote away and seeming disloyal to whoever is in power.
They needed Big D, and that was never going to happen.
Yeah, he did not.
I might vote for her 2 times.
He doesn't know how to say the word vote. He didn't say it tonight, and he didn't vote for her. He sadly to evict. I didn't pull this clip, but yeah, like so. I think that this expectation that Ozza was, she didn't want. Okay, so Mary's saying that Ozza didn't want to send a woman home. That wasn't her intent here. So she wasn't targeting Hannah, but she still nominated her. She wanted to keep Kylan safe. Why?
Because she made that deal.
She made a deal.
A deal that's not even on the show.
Well,
your problem is they didn't show it.
Yes, that's my problem.
I told you about it. You were a part of this show, and it was told to you on this show.
They could have shown it tonight. They could have shown it last night.
Well, they didn't think it was going to be important.
Dave, if you're Ozza, why would you not make a deal with the guy that's winning every single comp when he wants to?
Well,
why wouldn't you do that? You would, right? Like,
maybe unless I was working with the women,
But she wasn't working with the women,
right? So then why are we? I guess this she should want to look out for Hannah and Tiffany, and they should unite against the men because the men are working together, but they don't admit as much. Or I don't know. The show.
Well, the two big men are working together, and Big D's just along for the ride.
Mary, is it fan fiction?
Right,
fan fiction.
It never happened.
Fiction.
Okay, I thought tonight was kind of like, all right. I was saying to Amanda too, like, why is it the last few weeks, whoever wins HOH within a week or two, that person goes home. Claire got the secret HOH, went home. Tiffany got the HOH, went home. Hannah got Sarah Beth got the HOH, went home. Hannah got the HOH, went home. Like it keeps happening. DX, yep. Like
the answer is Xavier. And Kylan.
Xavier
and Kylan, don't they deserve some credit?
Yes, they do. That's the kind of the point I was making is that those two guys, they're the biggest threats in the house, and they've played this game perfectly. They've used the big alliance to their advantage. They've used it as a shield. That now they're kind of playing the Cody Derek game. They kind of are.
Yeah, even though they're not shown to be like super tight together, right? No, but they understand that them working together behooves them, I guess, for now. But
X is using Kylan.
Yeah, X is using Kylan.
Yes, I agree. I agree that X is using Kylan more than Kylan's using X because Kylan is kind of got his head in the clouds most of the time.
And a hypocrite.
And he's a hypocrite, but he's also smarter than he lets on.
If Xavier cuts Kylan at 3, is it going to be like? Is it going to feel like Kylan was betrayed? Probably not, right?
For Kylan, he probably would feel betrayed.
Like in the veto tonight, that it was a very fun veto. Like it was what the bleep, and it was very close. But for a while, and then it eventually once it seemed like Kylan, and
she knew she lost.
Xavier. Hannah's face from the minute she's nominated, even from that first time in the bathroom with Azza to the time she is devastated. She knows.
She knew.
She knew.
Yeah, she knew she was going. She knew she was going home.
You couldn't. The emotion was all over her face, and I did feel for her. I felt bad for her, because there was nothing she could do really. Like, and then once this veto happened and Kylan won, and I was just like, is Kylan just gonna win everything forever? Even sometimes he wins HOH and veto, and the times where he can't win HOH, he wins veto anyway. So it's like, I don't know. It's
here's the thing: like, you can be the biggest comp beast, right? But the chances of you just winning out throughout the rest of the game is highly unlikely, right? And it behooves the people in the group to vote them out when you have the opportunity to, right? You could have got X this time, and you might not get Kylan next time, but the time after could be the time that you get him, right? That's how you do it. But when you don't put both people up,
like
right?
Tiffany should have.
Sorry,
Like
we're
Tiffany
talking about
should've.
tonight. We're talking
I
about
know.
tonight.
I want to remind you that Tiffany could have done that.
A lot of people could have done that.
A lot of people.
Okay,
A lot
right,
of people.
right.
Mhm.
But tonight specifically, right? If Azza put up X and Kylan, and X
Mhm.
went home, and Azza somehow fumbled her way to ecstasy, right, and made it to the end, she would be getting votes
Oh yeah,
just
She'd
on
be
the
getting-
basis of getting like Xavier out.
or Kylan out. Like Brittany told us tonight in the jury segment that whoever gets Kylan out was going to get her vote.
Right. Well, do you think that Azza believed they were going after Xavier, or she was targeting Xavier, and that was the plan that she had with Kylan?
Azza, like a lot of this season, Dave, and it's super frustrating, and it's what I can't stand about this season, is everyone is just playing this loyalty game, and it's bugging me, and I don't like it because it's not fun to watch. It's just like like everyone's going against their own interests, and it makes no sense. Like Azza, yeah, you're right, Jaemeel, tonight should have put up the two big guys, but she didn't because she made a deal. Who cares? This is to go to the final four. He's not going to care next week when he wins HOH and puts you on the block.
Oh, she's going up for sure.
Right. So this is the whole thing. Like stop it with your deals. So why is no one in this cookout willing to break a deal? It is really
Hannah was the only one willing.
Yeah, Hannah was the only one, and Big D if he ever had gotten power.
You don't think Tiffany? I guess she
Tiffany
seems like
would have. Tiffany
Yeah.
would have. I think
it seems like she would have, but she not pre-cookout. She wasn't willing to
Here's the thing though. Like next week, either Xavier. Okay, I'll let.
Sorry,
I'll let Mary go.
but Mary's just saying, I'm so sick of everybody saying that they wanted to go to the end with competitors, but you see Azza and Big D. And okay, here's my other assessment of tonight, which was basically this was, once we got down to the 6 and it was the cookout, I feel it was Kylan and Xavier versus Hannah and Tiffany, and you have Big D and Azza in the middle. And Big D and Azza, I think, were going to the final four regardless, unless there was some kind of shenanigans and they couldn't get them out or whatever, the other side out. Or there were, maybe they get Tiffany out one, and then next shot, Hannah takes out either Xavier or Kylan, maybe, right? Would be, but that's not what happened. Kylan and Xavier take both of them out tonight instead. And so this is the final four because Kylan and Xavier, I think, are just better players than the rest of them, quite frankly. And they are running this. They are running this game.
They're not even that good. They didn't make Azza make the boneheaded decision tonight. Azza made it, and
Right.
I mean, you could say that was good that they made that deal with her, and I understand why Azza did it. You go back on it.
Why did Azza do it? Why did Azza do it?
Because why wouldn't you make a deal before any competitions are played with the guy that's winning every competition? Of course,
Well,
you're
you
gonna make
no
it.
one else
agree.
has made
You
a deal.
you agree to the deal. You
Substantial
agree.
deal to the end.
You always
Right.
you would tell Kylan, of course, yeah, we're gonna work together
Right.
and we'll keep.
But-
But then you don't do it.
She had a chance to guarantee keeping Hannah safe.
It's called lying, Azza. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, well, yeah. And again, that's part of the problem is like she never should have really got to the final four in this game. Like really. And
My boobs look great.
She sat in the same bed the whole game. Literally, her office. People walk in and just say, "Hey, what's up?" You know, like she doesn't really do much, and then all of a sudden she got this power thrusted on her at a double eviction, and I don't think she handled it well.
She won it.
Well, yeah,
yes,
she won.
Yeah, maybe if she had power once before, like that time, then they were supposed to throw it to her, and she didn't get it. Maybe I don't know. Like, was Azza ever going to learn this game? You think over time, or was this kind of just always the way she was going to play?
I mean, I actually think she would have learned had she, like you'd said, had gotten power. I really like Azza, and this is what kind of bums me out about tonight is that she had a chance. And I don't care, like, I kind of, like, at the same time was saying, like, oh, I wouldn't mind seeing Hannah go. But, like, at the same time, I wanted to see a good Final Four here. And Hannah, Azza, let's say it's Xavier and Big D, I think is more interesting than what we got.
Jaemeel, what would have been, like, your perfect Final Four of these Cookout members? Like, who would...
From 6?
From the 6, yeah.
If it was just... Chada, Tiff, X, and Kylan going back and forth and cutting each other up, that would have been fantastic.
Right. Then you have Ozza's part of that too. You think?
I did not say Oz's name.
No, Ozza.
Okay, listen.
You do not. So you say Ozza and Big D would have been voted out here, 5 and 6 instead.
But if I think had power and he was true to what he really believes, then it wouldn't really be a question. Him saying that you don't know what Big D has done to a show that almost every single moment is broadcast live is laughable. Is absolutely laughable. Right? It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Like, does he know what show he's on? Like,
wait, hold on. Let me find the picture.
I think like Big D. I think you're right, Dave. No matter.
Wait, where is it?
Sorry,
I think you're right, Dave. Big D and Azza were 100% making Final Four together.
I just don't think. What's the point if you're a competitor? If you're a Hannah, a Tiffany, an X, or a Kylan, like wasting these, like prioritizing Big D and Azza ahead of the rest, like there's no sense to it, like Hannah, you always want to get.
Hannah had a chance to win that veto tonight.
And
sure, she was close.
She was close, but Kylan again earned it.
Well, he's like he's a physical and mental threat. He's a huge like the fact that he's survived this long is kind of crazy, but not also and Xavier. I don't think. We haven't seen him win as many mental comps as.
I didn't realize he didn't understand the assignment.
Yeah, the misogyny is real.
When they start talking about the Cookout and like who created it, you could just feel the tension in the room just rise.
It seems like Tiffany's being given the credit.
Because.
That's what the show showed us, and it seems like that's what happened. I don't know. I didn't watch live feeds, but that seems correct.
That's what happened.
Yeah. And then so once Kylan finally won this veto tonight, like I was sitting there going, does he secretly mean to cut Xavier here and not pull him down? Because I kept wondering, is he going to use the veto on Xavier or not? Given the chance, and I was like, maybe he's more of a ruthless cutthroat player than we ever gave him credit for. This deal with Azza, he did make just in case she did win, and this would be his opportunity to cut Xavier. And he doesn't really mean that he wants to go to the end of the best. He just wants to win, even though he says this. But no, he means it. He does believe. He does drink a lot of the Kool-Aid he puts out there.
He's playing a weird game where. He knows Azza and Big D probably aren't going to win the final 3. And he knows if he can get through, if he can win the HOH or veto in this Final Four, Dave, that he wants X to take him. And he wants to give X a reason to take him if he doesn't win the final 3. And that's a good strategy. I understand why he's doing it. But at the same time, I respect ruthless gameplay, and he is the opposite.
Well,
The veto competition, the veto ceremony was just it was just a play. It was just a play. It was smoke and mirrors. There was no way that Shada wasn't going home. Count the votes. Who was voting?
it was ultimately, and it was Kylan and Xavier.
No, it
but
was going to be Kylan and Big D.
right.
And you think X is going home on that vote? He's not.
Okay, so if Hannah had stayed off the block, right,
From the get-go?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
then let's say it's
Then
like Hannah and Big D voting. Let's say it is Xavier and Kylan up there, like Hannah had hoped for, right?
Yeah.
Then it would have been Big D, Hannah, and Ozza voting, and yeah, they could have voted out either.
But no,
of them, or-
let's still give the veto to Kylan. Okay, so Kylan pulls himself off. Okay,
So
who goes up?
now,
Big D goes up beside Xavier. Right.
right? Well, that's the only way. That would be the only way that Hannah doesn't go, right?
Exactly, Dave. Exactly. And that's
so
why it was
why
a boneheaded move.
But what did Ozza do to win? What did Hannah do to get Ozza lined up for this?
Nothing. She's a girl.
Then she
and-
deserves to be voted out. Like, it's kind of my point. Is like Hannah made her own bed here,
Wait,
or Ozza is just
Dave,
like
I
whatever.
don't understand your thought process. For Ozza to have a path to the end.
Ozza
How is it
doesn't
in-
know. Are you kidding me?
She's playing the same game as everyone else, Dave. She is.
Ozza,
Yes.
Yeah.
So
the same game as Hannah.
Yes, the same game as Big D, same game as X, same game.
And
They're
Big D.
all in the house together. They're all in the house together.
They're all playing the same. It's true. They're all playing the same
What?
loyalty
What?
game. They are. They're all playing this weird loyalty game that I'm loyal to you, you're loyal to me. Whoever gets power, then it's kind of like an arbitrary. Like it's a weird. Like, there's no cutthroat going on, and like tonight was the first time it kind of happened, but it was weird because Ozza won the HOH, and so like the whole thing, like no one really got blood on their hands. Ozza didn't get the blood on her hands, but
No, she got blood in her hands of being an idiot. Like
yeah,
that's
dumb
all
blood.
people-
Yeah, unicorn
Dumb blood.
blood. I don't know how else to say it. Like it was
like in the house, in the jury house, they're gonna like Shada's gonna show up. They're like, Ozza won. Oh my, what happened? She's just gonna shake. She's gonna lower her head, and she's just gonna be shaking it the entire time. It's just watch. Just watch. Just watch.
I mean, Hannah should have done a better job when I guess they cut off the commercial, but when like Ozza told her what was happening, like she said it to her what was going to happen, but she needed to be more persuasive or really throw something at her that says you're going home next or just something. And maybe it happened and maybe we'll see it next episode. But I don't know. Hannah really should have worked Ozza before. And Kylan
and
did.
Tiffany for that matter, right? And maybe they did, and like you're saying, like Ozza was willing to.
Mary's getting involved in this stuff.
Well, Ozza, like you said, she would have voted to keep Tiffany if one of the guys had done it, right? So I don't know. Like at some point, you have to kind of look back and where did I miscalculate, right? In hindsight, I think that you have to analyze it and go, okay, where did.
Yeah, like last episode, Dave, Hannah, all she was saying was, the only person I have is Tiffany in this house. Now, why couldn't she get Ozza on her side? Like, what was the reason? Do you know,
They
Jaemeel?
never had
Like,
a good relationship.
I think and here's the other things. I think that if you're gonna once this cookout seemed to divide along gender lines, like men versus women, I think that this is maybe an unpopular opinion, but I think that sometimes men do better in those alliances and keeping loyal to them than women do. There's sometimes a fickle member of the woman alliance that just doesn't want to play ball. So
historically,
I think Ozza is that one in this case. She was never. She wasn't.
It was not like it was explicitly stated that there was men versus women.
But you're saying to me that it was like the boys are coming for us and we got to get the blah, 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 right?
Sort of.
That's what Tiffany said when she was put up on the block with Hannah.
She was right.
Right. But here's the thing. Like Ozza should have been self-aware enough to know, even if she's not aligned with Hannah, to know keeping Hannah benefited her to get to the final three. because now
Yes.
she's the number one target at number 4. If she doesn't win the HOH, the veto, she can't play the HOH. If she doesn't win the veto, she's going home. So if she had kept Hannah, Dave, regardless of female, male, she had kept Hannah. Hannah wins the HOH. She's not going home. She's making
don't
final
nominate
3.
If Hannah
Well,
doesn't,
yeah.
if Hannah doesn't win
Yeah.
HOH, Hannah's gonna be the target.
Well,
And
it's
then
also
Oz
like
is gonna
you
stay.
chose like this is that maybe okay. So like maybe that's the flaw in this Cookout alliance is that you had people in it that weren't very smart. I don't know, like it's because you're it's a kind of like based on demographic, and therefore Oz is not a good player. This is not somebody you want to take to the final 6 because she's kind of unpredictable and she kind of makes decisions based on not the most strategic reasons, right?
It's just like Kylan.
But Kylan is more valued in the game because he wins more consistently. He's more social. He doesn't just lie in a bed all day, and wait for people
Yes,
to come to him.
he wanders the
The halls,
like
Right.
going on
Phantom
with
of the
nothing.
the opera and rambles. See, do we remember last week or last episode when I was talking about his conversation with Tiffany? Doesn't it seem more likely that it happened just like that, where he's just like, "Hey, Tiffany's half asleep," and they're just like, "Oh, well, I guess you don't want to stay in the game,"
Right. Well, here, Mary's saying on the live feeds, Ozza was always conflicted between being loyal to X and Big D, and also wanting to work with, I guess, Tiffany and Hannah on this women's side of the alliance. And but that conflict has kind of been her downfall here, is that she didn't really see the way things were aligning. Now, maybe she could never have known. She never could have known that the guys were going to do this, that they would work together. It seems more intuitive that they would target each other, right?
Okay. She knows that Big D and X had a pact, right? And that pact was them going to go to Final 3 together, right? At the same time, Kylan made a deal with her, right? And they had that deal, right? So she didn't like handshake it with X and Big D. She's been close with Big D because they've practically done nothing together, right? And she has this crush on X, this stupid schoolyard crush on X, right? And she's just kind of either been like, I hate this dude because this dude is not paying any attention to me, and I like this dude because he's so hot, right? It's just, she's not like, just remember at the beginning of this game what she said she was going to do, and she's done absolutely nothing of the sort.
Well, she was going to come in and go after the biggest targets. She was going to tear
whoever
this
wins
up.
HOH, she's going to go after.
And no penis. Everything she said in her opening. Yeah, everything she said in her opening thing, was not followed.
Like she just, like, I think Brent Walgamot said it on Twitter tonight, Jeff. He says she's just a flop. She's just a dud, not a rootable player.
This is like my problem is most of the players here in the final 6 were not rootable. Tiffany was rootable, and that was where it ended for me. Like that, like Hannah was sort of rootable within the house, but in the DR and on the show, I did not care for the editing and the way she was portrayed. So I had a really hard time rooting for her, and I think that's the show's fault. I don't think that's necessarily Hannah's fault. Some of it's
both.
It's combination. Yeah, it's definitely a combination. Like she
just
definitely
like it's
has
Claire's fault too, because you can't show your personality in the DR, but we see these flashes in live feed segments. It's annoying.
She was way different in
stoked.
the jury segment. Didn't you guys find like Claire? Like she was like a different person. She was like, finally, I'm not on this show anymore. She
was more relaxed, I thought. Yeah, she was more natural. Just the way she was walking around a little bit, in the sequence, and was just more at peace, I think, in the jury segment. Yeah, I think that, and we haven't really talked about the jury segment, but we were sort of like the second hour, what Ozza did or didn't do, and the use of and Kylan taking down Xavier. And I think it does, if you're thinking from Kylan's point of view, I guess you can see his logic, even though I don't think Xavier would have done the same thing to him here. Would he have? If
No.
Kylan did? No, right?
No, like here's the thing though. He would still vote out Hannah because Hannah is not taking him. Right?
Yeah.
Even if he has the shot to take out his biggest competition. in Kyland.
I think Hannah is potentially just as big a competition. And, like we saw tonight.
Go ahead.
Well, sorry, we saw tonight in the veto. Look who were the top 3 people: X, Kylan, Hannah. So,
depends if you want. It depends if you consider like a competition from the sense of like who you have to compete against in like a veto, or compete against in the final 2, right? And who you want to sit next to in the final 2. So I see like Kylan is but I guess from Xavier's point of view, I think he's figured out that Kylan is loyal to him. So he doesn't want to necessarily be in the have to show his hand, maybe.
He doesn't have to worry about it. Like, if he doesn't get rid of Kylan, Kylan's still taking him. So he's like,
yeah, right,
yeah.
It's gravy for X.
Does X think he can beat Kylan no matter what? Like that's a good question, because he might just go to the end with Kylan anyway.
Maybe, and if he does, like then he has this. It's just about going through the motions.
Oh, okay. Now you're just trying to butter my biscuits a little bit. All right.
I would like your opinion. When the jury looks back and sees that the veto was played, who are they gonna think the reward of the veto goes to? Is it that Kylan is super loyal and won the veto, showing he's a beast, or is it like once again X skates by, he's such a great player? And I think it's
both.
the latter. I think it's gonna be the latter more than four.
I do think there will be players that want to give Kylan the credit, but as we saw tonight from like Sarah Beth, like in the way she talked about Kylan, there's more animosity toward Kylan than there is Xavier in the jury. So I think that, but and Big Brother's a fickle game. Like it's a game where you kind of vote for the person that didn't screw you a lot of the time. That happens a lot.
Person you're okay giving the money to, just like in Survivor, right? Like someone you're okay with saying that person was the winner, or that's the person I gave my vote to, or I had to pick the lesser of 2 evils, maybe in some cases. But
and then we had the thing with Xavier tonight with talking about his brother that died, and I thought immediately of Brent, and was talking about his dad like day one, and we found out just like now on the show about Xavier's dad, which I don't know. Brother, and that seemed to make a lot of sense to me. I don't know, Jaemeel, what you're shaking your head? What did you make of that?
I'm sorry, I don't care about this at all. You're telling me we're waiting till what, day 71, and you mentioned that, right? This is the first time we're seeing it, quote unquote, on the show, right? We knew what Tiffany was doing it for. We knew what a lot of the people's motivations were. The time, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm doing it for my father and my nephew. I'm sorry, I don't care. It could be that I'm just bitter, but I'm like, I don't care. Like
it
straight
could
up,
be.
like I watched that segment and I'm like, why are you showing this now? Like,
yeah, that's what I thought too. Like I thought it was like a total polar opposite of the Brent situation with Frenchie, that it was immediately with Brent, and then now you're right, day 71, and we're finding out about this, and I don't know, I didn't really understand why it took so long, number one, and number two, we don't really know a lot about Xavier. Like tonight was like the first time we learned something about him, it felt like.
Well, I thought it was interesting that the jury had figured out he's not a bartender, because they were watching that little
Claire had been saying that for a while, even before that challenge, that he didn't know how to make a
mint julep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like a bartender thing.
That being said, I watched enough Bar Rescue. There's a lot of horrible bartenders who don't know how to make drinks.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, but
they're called they're mixologists.
Sorry.
Mixologists, of course. The whole thing with Kylan and Xavier earlier in the episode, which was about their like, what's your motivations and what are you playing for, and what's and I get you don't care, but it's
Go ahead.
But it's more that I thought that Xavier is sharing that information. I guess people just like they have nothing to do but talk all day, and they eventually are going to go on all kinds of subjects. But I thought it was kind of a mistake for Xavier to share that with Kylan. I thought that that kind of makes I would go, oh, that might not beat my speech, because what it was Kylan's was, they're kind of saying what are you going to say in your final speech about the reason to give me the money? He's like, I got $100,000 in student debts, right? And then I think Xavier's story is more compelling, more of
any other player you'd be correct, Dave, but Kylan. He's a special player.
He's a special person in general. Well, special in some way. He's just so. He's like, I don't know what to make of him sometimes. He's like this jockey, sensitive,
Extremely calm. Yeah, philosophical. Yeah.
But he's also like this intense competitor guy too, and I don't know. So, I don't always understand him, but I guess why they put that in the show too. I thought it was maybe that they wanted us to start liking Xavier and Kyland more, or feel more connected to them. It's because with Tiffany and Hannah, who I think were more popular going here, they need the audience to feel invested in these people. I think that's why we haven't seen like anybody bury Big D, for some of the more controversial things he said, because I think the audience is responding to him. The casual audience, not the live feeds. So
I think BB Twitter and BB Reddit are gonna do. They're locking and loading until he gets out of the house. I think he's gonna be in for a rude awakening.
Who, Big D?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're coming. They're building a dossier on him.
Well, they have so much to deal with, so much to work with.
Can we get back into this jury segment a little bit, because because I feel like we haven't really talked about it, and it's extremely interesting to me that every single player was like, kudos, what credit. They were just like tossing credits around like they were tickets. So, amazing.
This was my favorite. This was my favorite.
I love how stupid I feel.
Yeah, like it was nauseating. I couldn't take it. Like, I was just like, there's not one person like upset other than Sarah Beth, and even she was like, I'm gonna play this cool,
They had the conversation with HR, and
they were prepped.
They were ready.
They were ready. Yeah.
Look, I thought it was interesting. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
If you saw any of the Q&As that these people have gone through, they can definitely tell the tone of what like the outside world feels about what's going on, right? And like, I don't think Claire needed much prepping, but I think you kind of feel like even Brittany, you feel Brittany has changed a little bit from when she the first segment to now. Right? Which is like, I'm just going to talk about pools.
I'm hot.
It's me.
She did another scream. Did you capture that second scream?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I thought you would have gotten that one.
She was just like, I'm going to be excited about the game and not, and just focus on that. That's what she did tonight. Yeah. And you know what? I get why they're doing it. I would probably do the same thing if I was in their shoes. It's just, as a fan and somebody that's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like it's very fake, and it's not honest. Like, I some of the things that I really loved about reality TV shows was the early days where, like, I think back to Sue in Survivor 1 and then she, it's bad, but the whole snake eating the rat thing, and it was one of the most greatest moments of reality television, and it was insensitive and all these different things, but it was great TV. And I'm here for good TV.
Jeff, I just feel like if it were me or you, and I can only talk for myself, but I just assume with you that it'd be like, kudos to them for, they had their alliance, and I understand how much it means to them, but this also meant a lot to me, and I want to win, and I can't help but feel a certain amount of ways, right? Yeah. So, like, I'll be managing my emotions for the rest of this jury time, but once again, they beat me, but I don't like to lose, right? And if someone just told me that, I would love it, right? Like, even Hannah and Tiffany, when they're like, the 6 and everything, I'm like, I understand that you had different missions, but I want to win.
Julie literally was spoon feeding the answer to Hannah and was like, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but here you go, and I was just like, come on, like, yeah, it's like, what are you the most proud of? Are you the most proud of the cookout? The cookout, right? You're most proud of the cookout? It's just like, and then she's like, yeah, oh, I wanted to win, but no, the cookout. That was the greatest moment ever when we got to the 6. And it was just like, oh, like I don't know. It's
well,
me. This
yeah,
is
I can't. For me, I can. I don't think I can identify with that experience because I don't know what that would be like to achieve. Like, okay, we've guaranteed the first Black winner or African American winner, if you're Julie. Whatever the term you wish to use. And so it was like,
Just
I
pull
guess.
a heel move and just go, I don't identify as African American. I'm African.
yeah. That
Well,
would be amazing if Hannah had done that. She's like, I'm actually just Indian, and or something like that.
Yeah, that'd have
Yeah,
been awesome.
but
Sorry, David.
so
couldn't help it.
I get, and there was also in the jury segment where they revealed to Derek X that there had never been a Black winner in the history of the U.S. show.
I
right?
just laughed. I'm like, wow. Hopefully, none of the casuals picked up that the man never watched the show before.
And he says if
Yeah.
he was given the chance, he would like. If
that
there
was-
had been 6 Asians in there, he would have teamed up with the 6 Asians.
There would never be 6 Asians.
There would never be 6 Asians, and they wouldn't team up.
And
Because if there was like you want to talk about, okay, let's not go down that road.
okay.
Although I
Well-
guess like yeah, that's that.
Let's not go down that road.
Well, he did say that, and I was like, well, if you were them or if you were with your, I don't know. Like, I don't know what he meant by that. I think that the Cookout is impressive. Like, she's like, you are the first 6 like person alliance that has got into the final 6 without losing a member. So, like, hey, kudos. Hey, I think
They all get a plaque.
they all get a plaque. I guess they're
yeah.
in the record books. I don't know what that's
they
worth
get.
to you.
I just
You
don't
know?
understand why. Like, I don't think that's much for Tiffany and Hannah to hold their hat on. Like, yeah,
Tiffany
it's-
better sneak herself a phone, get to the patent office, copyright the Cookout, BB Cookout, right, and start getting shirts printed out so that she can get her $750,000 back.
See, that would be a smart. That's like Rob proposing to Amber at All Stars. That's that's the kind of move that would be.
Yeah. So I guess, is it an accomplishment or is it, I guess it is, but is it that like now that we're getting closer and closer to the money, does it feel less important anymore? Or how, that, especially now the 2 of them are
Yes
gone.
and no. Yes and no. So the reason why I say yes and no is yes, it is an accomplishment. And people look back and always talk about, that alliance as an alliance that sticks out, right?
Yeah.
When you make marks in games, people do remember you. Winners are remembered, but if you're a good winner, you're especially remembered. If I go to a person who's supposed to be a Big Brother fan, and I go, who won Big Brother 7? Who won Big Brother 6? Who won Big Brother 17?
Big Brother 7 was Boogie.
17 was what's his name? Steve Moses.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Big
Steve
Brother
Moses.
Yeah.
That's his name.
You remember good old Steve Moses? But that was a season where Vanessa was like the anointed winner,
Correct.
Yes.
and didn't
But
get it.
people are gonna go BB23. Who won that? And they're like, Kai something, or the X dude.
The X dude, the big X guy.
X dude, not Derek X. No, Derek X
No.
came back for All Stars. It was
Yeah.
Xavier. That's it. Right? And that's
Yeah.
what they're gonna get, right? And then people are gonna go, man, the Cookout was something, and then move
Yeah,
on.
it's
That's
you're
it.
right. You're right. Like, it's kind of reminds me of the Brigade in a lot of ways. It has the same feeling of, oh, remember when all those dudes teamed up and they got to the end? It's like, do you really remember who won? It was Hayden, but we only really remember Hayden now because of Survivor.
Yeah,
It
was
If
Brittany
you-
Hayes, right? That came out of that season, right, with all the glam on.
and then she played with Dan on 14. And then, that was all. She got
I
even
think
more
you,
big.
I think you especially like I always remember the final 3 and more like less so the final 4, but the final 3 for me is always pretty significant depending on who it is, right? Like, and I remember
Final
that.
15, final 3 in 15.
That'd be Spencer, Gina Marie, and
Andy.
the winner, Andy.
And the winner. Andy.
And the winner. Well,
Well, give me. I remembered his name eventually. I don't.
but he's got a point. He's got a point, Dave. That we always remember Derek Lavasseur winning because but who was the third person? Victoria. Right, but like, okay,
I'm doing pretty good at this game.
What was BB18? Who won that one?
That was Paul, Nicole, and actually I don't remember who the third place was in that one.
Was it JC? No, it wasn't JC.
No, he didn't play that season. So
no, BB18 was Josh Martinez, wasn't it?
No, that was the next year. It was 19.
Oh, it was Nicole. Okay, so Nicole won 18, and then Josh.
Paul was the runner-up in that one, and I don't remember who was third place in that season. Interestingly enough,
I think it was Christmas. James. Yeah, it might have been James. Yeah.
Azza.
Is she destined to be third here? What place will Azza fall now? You think?
Last.
Now
Fourth.
She'll be fourth. Last. No, she's 16th place. She's even below
Frenchie. She had a worse HOH than Frenchie.
She had a worse HOH than Frenchie.
She like it's like watching like tonight was like I made the joke last episode, but it was like watching Eric Rockenbacher give away his mini necklace. That's what it was like tonight. Yeah. Watching Azza do what she did. You know,
she's the second time a Joker has been HOH.
Not a good track record.
First time was Frenchie. Second time is Azza.
Like and Big D didn't even we didn't get to see a scene of Big D talking to her, like because he knew it was going to go the way he wanted. You know,
did you hear him what he said to Hannah? It's like I told you.
Yes. And what does that mean? What did he mean by that? You think
like that he was probably going to be safe. He's going to go up.
Was he gloating? You think he was? That was like a gloat.
I don't think he was gloating. I think he's just Big D.
It was kind of like, was it salt in a wound? What was he doing? I don't
because he always liked to play victim too. So
because as Hannah was going out, she was like, "I love you, Hannah. I love you."
Right. And then they went and
turn around and give him the finger.
Yeah.
Terminator, just like.
He was so bad at that veto comp. Like he was just guessing. You could tell he guessed every single time.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah, it showed.
That's the thing, though. Like, what the bleep is can be so hard, right? Because yes, like people won. Some of it is skill. Some of it is like you have to guess, and you just assume. It's assumption and guessing, educated guesses.
Yeah.
Right, and you could just guess wrong.
Well, or if you have like a really good memory, maybe you can remember what somebody said.
Kylan seemed to know a lot of the time. Like Kylan seemed to kind of.
Did he get one wrong? Did he even get one wrong?
He got one wrong, but he knew pretty much the answer. I felt like I think Hannah had a switch at one point, and she got it right. She
lost that point.
Oh, she lost that point. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
but then she switched at another point and won the point. I thought.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, she was in it, and she almost made a comeback, but like Kylan and X are just X hasn't done this well in the mental comps so far, but this week it seemed like he stepped it up here. Like he was he wanted to win. He was on the block and
I don't think he
was on the block, but he unless Hannah won it.
I know but it's X. He still likes the assurance of not being on the block, given the opportunity.
Well, I think he was terrified that Hannah was going to win that.
And then when the points totals was being mentioned, you could kind of see like them relax, and Hannah was just like, like this the entire time.
Yeah,
like from like 0.5 on, she was like this.
Yeah. She knew she was too far behind, and Kylan was kind of just that 1 point ahead of her, and that was all it took.
Can we just take a quick minute to update our draft as we're down to our final four here?
I'm done.
You're done, Jeff, right?
Yep.
So let's take off Tiffany first. Tiffany belonged to Amanda. So Tiffany goes out here. And, of course, Hannah, who was taken 10th overall by Jeff. And as we've talked about this a few times, but those three Cookout men were the top three picks of our draft.
It was good drafting, I guess.
Good drafting. And then you got Azza taken by Jaemeel at 12, who's now the other member of that final four.
She was picked 4 spots too early.
So the winner will belong to either me, Daryl, Amanda, or Jaemeel. As we see here, that I have Xavier, Daryl's got Kyland, Amanda with Derek F, who she doesn't like, right, Jeff?
No, she's on Jameel's wavelength.
We should be allowed to trade our picks, or trade our players once we don't like them. And then Azza.
Is it bad that one? I'm like, do we not forget that I'm like my person's not going to win, and I don't really want her to win. Like, to me being forced to having to root for her now.
Well, she is Star-Lord, as you mentioned. So,
Legendary outlaw.
So
my condolences to Amanda. How she's okay?
She's having a hard time not cheering for Tiffany anymore, and now she only has Big D, and
she doesn't want to cheer for her.
It's not been good. It's not been. It was a bad night for Amanda. Tiffany going home.
I think it was bad for Mary.
I got messages. I got a lot of messages with a lot of swearing.
Yeah, it seems like Twitter was blowing up quite a bit, right, Jaemeel?
Oh, so counselors are standing by for us.
Yeah, and
Get
I guess
the counselors in the DR.
My question is, like, how do they break out of this pattern if you're casting for Big Brother and you want to get out of like the loyalty team mentality that has been going on for quite a few seasons, that since I've been watching it, and
all homeless people.
Homeless people is the key.
That'd be cool. I'd watch that.
You think they're like, we should team up together. I'm not saying that homeless people don't have honor. I'm sorry. I just mean, like, I shouldn't imply that like homeless people don't have morals. That's not the case. I just feel like individuals who are down on their luck or would be willing to play the game and win, regardless. You have some of these people who are lawyers, right? Like, sure, $750,000 is going to be like fantastic, but or you have people who is related to royalty, right? Like, what?
Which country was that? Cameroon.
Yeah,
and you have a son of a very famous boxer in the house.
Yes.
Like, we have a lot. What I would like to see is this is what they should do: 4 super rich, 4 up middle class, 4 lower class, 4 homeless people.
You want like a Survivor theme?
I don't know, just cast it that way, and I would just love to see it. I would love to see the dynamics.
Blue collar versus white collar versus no collar.
You know what's going to happen? People are going to buddy up with the rich people, right, and see if they can like intermingle with them. They would say the influencers.
Do we need just some more desperate types to play?
I just read individuals who care more about the games, and it's not just super fans, because we saw super fans in this game too. Right?
Yeah, but they still played a fairly timid game. Most of them, like, who are the super fans, like Alyssa and
Brittany,
Claire. Yeah, you could tell tonight in the jury segment who were big
Tiffany.
fans.
Or do we just need less intelligent players?
No, look at Big Brother Canada. Was there not desperation? Did not people break out of deals? Made like, I would never break this deal, and broke the deal. People in like 3-person alliances that said they're going to stay to the end and still backstab them.
So you're talking less predictable?
No, I just mean that.
What's the difference between like a player like Victoria from Big Brother Canada 9 and a player like Xavier?
Victoria gives no fucks.
Right.
Yeah.
And Xavier gives all the fucks. Xavier is
show, and she wants to embarrass people.
Right.
She wants a spectacle. She wants people to die on the chair.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. My type of player.
Dude, you would have loved Big Brother Canada last season.
Here's the deal. Like, they need to go back, and I know the thing is, in America, it's controversial, but they need to go back to kind of what season 15 and before had, and it was a lot of like more middle class to lower class people. Even Dan, he's like a teacher at a high school. Like, he's not,
less Instagram influencers and
stop casting people from New York or New York,
or
Texas, LA, right?
Yeah.
Miami. right? We've seen more than enough of these individuals. I'm tired.
Yeah,
of
we
it.
need more Midwesterns. Like also Dan, I believe is from Michigan. Like
Yeah.
like stuff like that. Like I guess like even as much as Nicole F was annoying, she was a good TV character because she was very hateable. And
right. You rooted
you know,
against her actively.
yeah, but like she was a good like TV character. Some of these like blah characters they find, I'm like, why? Who decided this? Who decided that, like Travis was a good pick for this season? Like
My pick. Like if it was a different season, I think Travis would have done a lot better because he would have grown down and he would have been in a lot better position.
It's only because Frenchie was the first HOH really that he got targeted.
Whereas
But
I'm surprised we haven't talked about what I thought was the biggest burn of the night outside of Oz's, self burn was Brent being compared to a loaf of bread.
yeah.
And they zoomed in on the bread.
Brent,
Yeah.
the bread. Yeah.
Did you not know, Dave?
Not that
Dave,
exactly.
no, Dave.
Not exactly.
He's like Brent.
I did pull a few things where he was. Actually, I didn't even load them up, did I? Hold on, like this one where he was like, "You need me in the party."
Boring.
I pulled that.
No, I wouldn't take Big D. Like
To Vegas.
Big D's gonna get me arrested.
Yeah, that's about yeah. That's a
No.
Doing
great-
what? What are you gonna get arrested doing?
No, because Big D's the type of person who's gonna make a spectacle for the
Yeah.
sake of being a spectacle. He's gonna be the type of person that gets drunk and says, "Hey, I'm gonna throw something at that police officer over there."
and then blame
Right.
you.
Yeah, right.
That's him.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna end up in jail and need to be bailed out because of his dumbass.
Why would you not take me to Vegas? I'm the best time you can ever have.
Yes.
Jesus.
I mean, they were just messing with him there, and it was pretty funny
Yeah.
because he takes everything so seriously, and he's
He's gonna be someone that someone's gonna bump in the club and he's gonna start yelling at them.
yeah.
And
Then I have to fight.
Yeah. I don't know. Big D. Yeah, like I don't know. Like he's not. We'll see what his life outside
Dave, you
of the
would
house.
not want to hang out with this.
I don't
dude.
think I would hang out with him, but I don't need to. He's on a TV show, so he's but
I'm just saying.
I didn't. Yeah, like I might not want to hang out with Johnny Fairplay either, but I mean, he was good TV.
or Sue Hawk.
Or
Sue Hawk.
Johnny Flair player would actually want to hang out at a wrestling event. Yes.
Oh, true. Fair enough. Yeah. You know what I mean, though.
Like it's not so much that it's not that I have to approve of everything he says either, to find him an entertaining
I'm just saying,
character.
personality-wise, the dude is problematic. I'm talking outside
Sure,
of this house.
but I think that's the other problem with casting is we can't have problematic people. Like Jeff's saying, like
no, I
people-
never had. Look,
people
I
have
never
problematic opinions, people and behaviors. And
I
like,
never said once that DF should be not in this household or not casted. At all.
not rewarded for his bad behavior.
No, I'm just saying I don't like the dude.
Yeah,
Right.
right. Which like. I understand. Like I didn't like Gina Marie or a lot of the players that played season 15. Obviously, Aaron. Obviously, there was a lot that happened on that season.
She took a black dude to the prom, Jeff.
Who?
Aaron Grease?
Aaron.
Oh, Aaron. Oh, I didn't know that. I mean,
Is that her
okay,
defense?
Yeah, that's I have a black friend.
Yeah, it's never a good way to go. I have a black friend. She flipped over a mattress on purpose just to piss off. Yeah, black. What was her name?
Howie.
Candace and Howie.
Howie.
Wait,
You guys have other black friends?
I did, and I wore. Not really. Though. We're in the whitest town in the GTA. We really are. Actually, it's getting better.
Sherman.
Sherman. But
Yeah.
I haven't hung out with
I
Sherman.
haven't seen Sherman since
Hamilton, man, he's closer to you than me now.
I
Oh,
follow
is
him on Facebook, but I haven't seen Sherman in a long
Sherman
time.
Barrington, realtor.
Trying to
check
check
him
who
out.
else. Like,
Must
Anyway.
I do. I can't. I
I'm
don't.
joking. Move on.
But yeah.
It's
Anyway.
funny how people get nervous whenever that comes up.
yeah. Good. Well, I find it like with us, it's It's just like where we are in Burlington. It's just like, well, they weren't around. It's like
It's kind of like when Kevin Smith talks about it. Like I write movies about the Jersey suburbs, and there were no black people in the Jersey suburbs, so you can put them in the movies.
And then there's gonna be like 5 people on Twitter going, "I lived in the Jersey suburbs in like the 80s and 90s."
right.
It's
Well, I
like,
didn't know-
you
he
guys
didn't know
just
those
weren't
5
friends. You know, that just happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
No, for sure.
Okay, so jury segment. We talked about the Tiffany eviction. We talked about the Hannah eviction. And okay, also guys, tomorrow night they're doing the HOH on Friday,
Yeah.
which I'm not saying we have to podcast because we need a night off, but we can do it on Sunday instead. Jeff, are you frozen?
He's just Captain Morganing it. You see his head tilt.
He's like kind of catching up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought for a second there, my
Yeah,
my
I don't
sister
know.
went
My
there.
internet sometimes just like takes off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jeff, did you, what do you think
they
about?
have the AMAs?
They have the Emmys or something.
Yeah,
Right?
Emmys are on point.
The Emmys are on Sunday. So is that why they're airing the episode tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
But Jeff,
CBS has the rights. So that makes sense.
yeah, CBS says it. So they've been bumped to Friday. Jeff, I assume we're not going to go on for Friday. We'll do Sunday or something.
No. Yeah, we'll do it another day. Yeah.
Okay. So sorry guys, we'll not be on tomorrow night. We need a night off. I've been going since Sunday. And so with the various podcasts, but we will cover the next episode sometime this weekend, probably Sunday, to talk about the next HOH. It will not be Azza, and she'll have to say,
Nope.
Do what you need to do.
Jaemeel, do you presume Azza will be the next target?
Duh.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought.
Not only will she be the next target, she'll need another competition where she throws balls to win. So
Wait,
I mean,
okay.
the likelihood.
I thought this was like pure character development where she could not win a challenge where she had to roll balls down down area and control it with a plank. This time they removed the plank and she's like, I got this. And it's like they should have did like a Survivor kind of flashback where you just see in her mind, she sees all the times the balls have just fallen off or the eggs have fallen off. And this time it's like it just zens
She's
it
like,
to win.
She's like, I played lots of bocce ball when I went back home to Cameroon. You know,
Are they known for bocce ball there?
no.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
might
So,
be.
yeah, I
It's
just thought
Italian.
one thing I did notice about that competition with Azza though, when she was throwing those balls, like after she got in to go against Xavier for the next round, like she has no cardio, Azza at all. She was like huffing and puffing and like, I was like, holy. You just threw some balls up a ramp. It's not like that hard, but apparently it was. Anyway, it was a little bit surprising, but hey, she also dug down and won, so good on her.
Comp Beast X strikes again.
Comp Beast. Well, that was the other thing in the jury segment tonight, where they're like, we knew it. He was throwing every competition every time. Which I don't think it's true either. But I don't think he was trying to win everything either. So
jury is giving him so much credit. I don't understand like why X gets all this credit. It's just because they like him more than Kylan. It's really all it comes down to.
they respect him more.
Yeah, well, he just doesn't talk as much. Kylan just won't shut up.
Right. Like when he came in to talk to Azza and she was just like, what is she had like some comments tonight where she's like, you just smile and keep going. I definitely I don't I didn't even load up everything. What am I doing?
I wish they showed that segment.
Sorry.
I wish they had that segment when he tried that with Tiffany and Tiffany was asleep. I would love to see it. It was like, well, I guess I'm going to start a sentence, pause for a couple seconds, and then continue talking. Well,
you just hear snoring.
No, shut the up, Kylan.
You know what? We didn't talk about Tiffany's exit here too much, but real quick, she took it with like a lot of class. I thought, at least on the show. Like I thought
she coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Smile. That's right. Smile and nod,
Nod.
Mary, for Kyland. Yeah. Um,
What you always just need to do is nod and smile. Mhm.
mhm,
Mm-hmm.
that's right. And this is the other one. She was like, I'm never talking to Kyland again.
I don't think I'm gonna be asking Kylan, how are you, for quite some time.
Like
They don't like him.
they don't really was anyone worried that Kylan was going to keep rambling during the conversation with Julie? Like they show occasional cuts to people and you just see their hands kind of like this, and I'm like,
What did they
are
ask
nervous?
Kylan? Like, I can't even remember what she asked him
Was the
specifically.
I think the sacrifices of the all of
Yeah,
them
when
were
you had to give
basically
up
the same question.
Sarah
It
Beth?
was just no.
It was the same question 6 times. It was like, how
Yeah.
great was it to be in this alliance? Every single time. It was great, Julie. Yeah.
We loved it. Well,
Yeah.
tell me more about it.
Julie gave everyone a reach around, basically.
Yeah.
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 And they were feeling good about it as a result. So I think that was coming through in Tiffany and Hannah's exit interviews.
Oh, Mary wants to talk about the Hannah vote out.
What's there to
What do you
say?
want to? What's? I mean, what happened? What happened when Kylan and Xavier went into the room together? Like, was that just for show as well? You think, Jaemeel, or was that like some? Was there a conversation to be had to take out Big D?
There was probably a conversation about that, and X was like, "No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that."
Big D's taking me to the end. What? Sorry. Oh, I didn't say that. Sorry.
Or like he'll like
What was Kylan and X talking about? Was being asked.
probably that, and X was probably saying that you don't know all the stuff that DF has done for the cookout. All the
Of course.
snoring.
all the
rolling
snoring,
around
all
in
of
bed.
the complaining.
Yes, complaining.
I like how they asked Big D during like that segment too. They're like, "Was the cookout ever on the on the verge of breaking apart?" And they asked Big D because he was always the one trying to blow up the alliance, wasn't he?
Yes,
like,
he was.
yeah. So he was like, "Yes, there was, but don't worry, we held it together."
Everyone held him back.
Well, here, I'll read a little quick thing about a conversation here between Oz and Xavier right after the show ended.
Is this spoilers?
Yeah, we're going to spoilers.
Okay. We got spoiler warning. We got to get to the
I think-
spoiler warning.
Mary wants to know. So Ozzy says, during my HOH, just having no problem putting Big D.
Not today.
Spoiler warning.
Today wasn't. It's time and place. Time and place. Okay. Ozzy says, during my HOH, just having no problem putting Big D up. Remember the reason why I put you up, talking to X, was because I thought he would never have Big D go up on the block. I think talking about Kyland. And he was just like, don't give a fuck. That man is fucking savage. Xavier says that is the kind of game he is playing. That's the thing about him, is he makes moves, then he thinks no one knows his underlying reason for why he did them, but we all do. Ozzy says, no, I know. Xavier says, no, I am just saying generally, I feel like he wants to be this like big mastermind, but when I think about it, Will and Dan, Derek, I think they were all covert. Like they were doing things, but no one really knew they were doing them until it was already too late, But with him, he is doing them way too publicly. And truthfully, I don't know if he would have made it this far without the cookout. Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. I think that could be said for just about all of us, but other people in particular, I don't think that's true. Just because of how he has rubbed people the wrong way. But I don't think he has played a bad game, though. Ozzy says, no, I don't think he's played a bad game either. Xavier says, I just think his social game definitely needs work. Competition-wise, he is a great competitor. Socially, at times, I think because of how he played the game, when he would try to be social with people, one when he would try to be social with people, it would still seem like he was still trying to play the game. He never relaxed, and he was always working angles, even when they were like letting their hair down, and they didn't like that about Kyland.
Right. He's always active. He's always playing hard. Is kind of what they're saying. And not
Yeah,
subtle.
he's always being fake. And he's so because the game of Big Brother is a very fake game.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a lot of getting along to go along. But at a certain point, they want to just put game over there and let's go hang out by the pool. But they were like,
And SB's problem with him is the fact that he didn't need to go to the extent and the amount of lies he said to keep her in line.
Yeah. Why do you think he did that?
Yeah, Dave, breaking news. We have a new HOH.
Oh, we don't even have to cover it on Friday then. Okay, good.
Do you want to know who the new HOH is? Do you want to guess?
Yeah, of course I do.
Breaking news.
Big D.
Breaking news. No, it's not Big D.
That's disappointing. Okay. Who's left? It can't be Ozza. Please tell me it's not Kyland.
It's Kylan.
It's not. It's X.
Oh, sweet. Okay, that's better.
Timing is everything.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was fast. Jeez. So I think what's interesting. It's not slip and slide veto. No, they're not doing slip and slide. They're throwing it out. Okay. So who does he put on the block?
Big D and Ozza.
He does. He doesn't put Kylan up.
Why would he put Kylan just?
Only one person votes. This is Final Four, right? So it's all about the veto, right? At Final Four.
Yeah, and he needs to split up Big D and Ozza because in the final three, if one of them wins, they're going to take each other to the end, right?
I don't think Big D would.
You don't think Big D would take Ozza?
Big D's going to take X.
Yeah.
Why? Why would he do that? He would have a way better chance of winning the game against Ozza.
Sorry. He thinks he's played this mastermind game.
Yeah.
But I mean, so does I agree, but I don't know. All right, would Ozza take Big D over X?
Hopefully.
Well, someone is one. Yes, we know.
Yeah. So I missed that. I should have looked up first.
Hopefully, Ozza takes Big D.
But yeah.
Hopefully, Ozza takes Big D.
I don't know. Is their relationship still good, Ozza and Big D?
How did it falter?
I just don't see them talking much on the show much anymore. They're not always in the same bedroom all the time like they used to be. But there's less people in the house, so they're probably spread out more often. They probably don't need to share a bedroom as often as they did back in the beginning. So
Ozza should just take Big D and have Big D tell everyone how the men drag the women to the end. I think that will definitely win them votes to win.
The women are the dominant of the jury, right?
Yes, they will be.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, interesting fact. This is all the women of the jury. Wait, is it all the women of the jury?
Derek X is the only man on the jury right now.
Is that right? Yeah, that's true. And then Ozza's probably going to join them. So it's literally going to be...
What if she doesn't? What if Ozza is somehow sitting next to somebody in the final two? Right? Will all those women votes come into play for her, maybe?
No.
It's
not. If she took out X, then yes.
So they have to earn her respect first.
So if she took Big D to the end, would she win? And cut X. Say she won the final HOH.
If Big D talks the way he thinks he played, then she will win.
She'll win, yeah. That would be a fun ending to the season if that happened. It won't, but
okay. So in this final four, it's all about the veto, right? So X is immune, so he's going to final three. That's done. And so now that we are going to that, so it's all about who wins the veto. If somehow
it's all right. So whoever wins the veto gets to decide who goes home.
Who goes?
Unless X wins the veto, and then he gets to decide who decides who goes home.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's basically four scenarios, right? So it's the first scenario is Big D wins the veto, and he decides who goes between Ozza and Kylan. Who does he pick, Jaemeel? To go.
Sorry, if Big D wins?
If Big D wins the veto, which I know is an unlikely scenario because he never wins anything. But if he were to win the veto and he was to decide between Ozza and Kylan, who would he keep?
Kylan.
Why?
Because he would need Kylan to take him to the end.
But at that point, it's just Kyle. At that point, it would be Big D, Xavier, and whoever he takes, or whoever he doesn't cut there. So, why would he feel better about being in there with Kylan and Xavier?
Because he believes the only scenario that he does not like go to the end is if he votes off is if Kylan wins, and he also has the mindset of he wants all the women gone. He
just wants women gone.
Men. Yeah,
he just wants to get down to the. He knows that the top 3 men in the cookout went in our draft, and he wants to see that happen.
He feels like the top 3 competitors, which he believes he's one of them, should make it into the final 3.
How can he think he's a top 3 competitor? He doesn't want to.
This is what the dude believes.
He's delusional.
He is.
He has Azza's won more comps.
Ozza's won more. Ozza's got more of a resume.
Ozza also has performed technically in the last outside of this HOH, which I don't know what exactly ended up with. She beat Xavier twice in competitions. She had a better time in BB Comics and also.
That's right. Yeah, she did. She beat him by quite a bit. Yeah, like at least 5 minutes or something like that. Yeah. So I don't know. Like, don't count Ozza out. Yeah, don't count her out to win a competition, but do count on her to do the wrong thing. So, okay. So Ozza. Next scenario, Ozza wins the veto, and now she has to pick between Big D and Kylan. I think she would vote to evict Kylan, right?
I don't know. I don't know how long their deal together was for.
I think that deal's not worth anything after tonight.
You think?
I think if I were her, I would say.
If you were her.
Yeah, if I were her, I'm not her, so
you'd be a better player.
I'd be a much better player. Yeah. But yes, that would be like the obvious thing to me if I were her. It would be you have first of all, she likes Big D. She even though maybe he doesn't deserve it, and so you think that would be her deciding factor. She ultimately didn't want to target him tonight. She avoided it until he had to go up. So, yeah, Mary goes, I don't know what he's done for the cookout. Well, he's just been a number, I guess.
But
Big D.
But Kylan said, we all don't know how much a Big D has done for the cookout.
That was all pandering. Yeah. That was public relations work on Kylan. That's
he wanted to justify his decision that he wasn't taking the best competitors to the end because
he wants to justify that he's targeting the women too. I think
to prove that he's a hypocrite, to prove that he wasn't a hypocrite.
Yeah, he's trying to control. He's treating America, or and also here in Canada, where we're watching from, that we don't know better. He's playing us like he tries to play everybody, but we're not. He's not that good at it. Oh, there goes Jeff. Okay. What's the segue there? Okay, and the third one was if Kylan wins the veto.
Who's he choosing to do the vote?
Yeah, he would choose. No, but Kylan votes. Here.
Sorry. If Xavier won, he would make sure that Kylan was the person that would make the decision.
And in both scenarios where Kylan is the one choosing, he chooses to get rid of Ozza too, right?
Yep.
So Ozza doesn't have a hope in hell.
Unless she wins.
Yep. And then if she can get to final 3, can she beat Kylan or Xavier in the final 3 HOH?
Her only way to win is if she does win.
But can she win?
Anything could happen.
Like with the traditional competitions we think of as the final 3 HOH, which is
a physical endurance, she would have to win part 2 and 3.
Yeah, I know what she has to do. I just don't see how it ever happens. Like,
she's gonna get second place with that because she's gonna do better than Big D.
Well, okay, so and if the final 3 is Xavier, Kylan, and Ozza, for instance, right? Do you think like Xavier would rather sit next to Ozza in the final 2 than Kylan?
If Xavier's smart, yes.
I think Xavier is smart. And careful. I think he's more careful and he's very methodical.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting. I think there's still some interesting things to break down and talk about. So, okay, so we're gonna come off of our spoilers talk here and bring that down that banner. We're gonna wrap up tonight because we're approaching midnight here on the East Coast, in the Eastern time zone at least. Thanks so much, Jaemeel, and to all of our fans and Jeff and everybody else. It's been a long season already and long week, and we've already kind of talked about tomorrow, so. We'll cover some of the what they show us on the show that over the weekend or probably Sunday or something. But we know the next HOH. We know what's coming. Jeff, we talked about all the scenarios, and it's basically Ozza's done unless she wins out. Yeah.
See?
So
He's in shock.
He's in shock. He's in disbelief. Anyway, so what do we have to plug? All our shows. Okay, so we'll be back on Sunday. We'll be also back on Wednesday and Thursday to talk about those episodes. And then also here on Super Mader Brothers Podcasting, check out our other content, including Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast for stuff like Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, for WandaVision. We'll be doing the What If series and all the new Marvel releases that have come out in 2021 and beyond. Also, check out our back catalog of other shows like Survivor, which we will be covering, I think, once we wrap up Big Brother. That will only be once a week. That's going to be a lot easier.
Monsters Hungry.
The Monsters Hungry, a twist you've never seen before. And plus,
It's Blue's Clues Survivor.
Yeah. We have a Star Trek themed channel called Live Long and Podcast, where we talk about Star Trek multi times a week, old and new. Monday nights, we talk about Star Trek Original Series. Tuesday nights, Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Right now, we're doing the new episodes of Star Trek Lower Decks, which we did earlier tonight with Davin Scalehorn from Locutors of Trek, who is a cousin to Jeff and I out of Nova Scotia. Check that out. If you like Star Trek, check out our Live Long and Podcast channel, and also check out our third channel, Trivial Debates, our monthly show where we argue about movie, TV, sports in a game show format. A lot of fun. Check that out. Thanks so much for watching us and liking and subscribing and sharing and all those things. We really, really love it. And with that, we're going to take you away with some wisdom. Here, give me some Julie Chen. Have a good night, everyone.
From outside the Big Brother house, I'm Julie Chen Moonves. And remember, be the good. Good night.